Question, real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Welcome back to Come Back with a Warrant podcast. I'm Brandon Dinetz.
And I'm Monica Ishak. Before we kickstart this week's episode, this is your reminder that this podcast is not legal advice. It's real, unfiltered, and for entertainment purposes only. If you need to speak with a lawyer, call one. Or better yet, call us. Welcome back. Today we are talking about networking and connecting in order to make a bigger impact and also make more money, because that's why we network.
That is part of why we network for sure, yeah. But building those relationships and building your own brand and credibility and is ultimately, the long-term goal is to develop relationships that turn into
collaboration, really.
Right. And but turn into money that ultimately turn into referrals or future business or relationships that can do something that leads to our growth.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm very excited to talk about this topic because I love networking. I am big on networking. I set myself monthly networking goals, which is kind of ridiculous.
That's kind of cool.
I do it to keep me accountable because it's so easy to get caught up in your day-to-day routine, and I can easily prioritize fitness over networking because that's what I would want to do. But if I have a networking event to attend, then I have to reorganize my day and make sure I prioritize attending that event. So if I don't set myself a networking goal for the month, I'm not going to end up doing that. So I have to do it.
Whereas I am terrible with networking.
You also have different responsibilities than I do.
I know, but my wife has the same responsibilities that I do, and she's an expert networker. But she also started networking before we had a son. So she has been building her personal brand for a long time. Yeah.
And that is a big part of what we need to talk about today, because I actually did not have that journey. And I think Jen is really wise to have started early or younger. Yeah. I didn't know the importance of networking in general. In the legal field, we've talked about this. We've said that everybody knows everybody. It is a big community, but it's really a small community. That's a part of the reason why you need to network. But we also aren't really taught in school, I think, because I do believe if I wasn't a lawyer, I'd probably be networking even if I was in another career.
I mean, talent alone doesn't build the firm. The relationships that you develop along the way, that is what really builds you up and builds that growth. And the way to get your name, you have to get your name out there and be on people's minds so that they will refer cases to you or will send people your way, or for you to grow and also to learn, you need to develop these different relationships with people. It's really important. And you're not just networking with the people that are in your specific field, right? You're not just networking with other criminal defense attorneys. No. That's important too, but you're networking across the legal landscape and across the professional landscape, because you want to start branching out. And, maybe you're in an organization where someone else is a manager of a bank, and the bottom line is there are all different types of people out there and professionals out there that we can interact with, that eventually we may need to use their services or they may need to use ours. And it's very important to have those relationships in order to grow. Yeah.
Well, the beautiful thing about networking is that once you connect to one person, you're really connecting with their entire community. So let's say you go to a networking event. I'm not good at math, so I might mess this up. But you go and you meet, let's say, 5 people, you exchange business cards, you follow up with 2 people, and you have a lunch with these people. And then, you then start connecting with this person, whether it's at happy hours or lunches or coffee meets, whatever it is. And you send them a case, they send you a case. And oftentimes when you're connecting with other professionals or you're at a networking event, you're not really meeting your ideal client, like you're saying. But you could end up collaborating in different ways, or this person might end up you don't even know who in their life gets into some trouble. In our situation, gets into some trouble. It could be a DUI, often, and this is what I say a lot, that oftentimes I give my card and people are like, I don't want it. I'm like, just take my card. Just take it, because it happens so often that I get a call from someone that I met that it's not about you or your immediate people, but somebody calls you because they know that you are connected to professionals, or they know you're a professional, and they're going to call you and ask you if you know somebody, and I'm going to be the person that's going to be top of mind because you just met me or because we're connected. It's just I've witnessed the like fruits of and experienced the fruits of networking myself. So because of that, I am referral based only, and I don't pay for lead sources. And I just literally, when I have downtime in my business, if I'm not revamping something in the business in terms of a system or operation, I'm networking. And that's why I set myself networking goals, because sometimes I get busy with cases. I get busy with, I'm focusing on my fitness goals or whatever the case is. And I just like, it's easy to let it go by the wayside. And I've been there. So that's why I have to make it a priority. But if not that, then, you're supporting another business, which is also a really great thing because you're getting something out of it.
Right. One of the reasons why our personal collaboration works so well is the ability that we have to tap into each other's communities or group and networking groups. One of the reasons why I reached out to you initially to start all of this was because I saw the success that you were having in places like LinkedIn and social media, and seeing that growth. I wanted to figure out how to, tap into that growth for myself and also learn how to expand my network. And that alone, just LinkedIn, for an example, being able to, both of us will be on a post together, and you'll see the people that'll comment on that post, and then I'll see those people will now follow me on LinkedIn, or they'll be added to my group, and then those people are commenting on my posts, and you see the different, expansion of your own networking group just based on the relationship that we're building. I have access, and I'm interacting with all of these different people. And, one of the things about us is we sometimes get calls that are not related to criminal defense, and we have to be the ones that refer them out.
Yeah.
So for us to have relationships with other lawyers is so important, because I want to be able to refer somebody out and
to a good lawyer.
Right. Know they're going to be a good lawyer,
Yes.
know that they have credibility, know that they can get the job done. Even if I don't know the person that's asking me for that, referral, I want to give them the best, because it's still a representation and it's a reflection on me that I gave them that person. And I also want them to have the best possible chance at success for whatever they're doing. So knowing all these different lawyers in different fields becomes so important.
Well, I think that's also important. It emphasizes the importance of actually connecting with attorneys and like getting to know people genuinely, not on a superficial level. Like, I think initially it is superficial, right? Like you're meeting each other over drinks or
Small
whatever.
talk.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you get to know each other, and then you're like, okay, let's finish this off at, lunch or whatever. And you continue to get to know each other. How are you going to ever know if this is a decent attorney that is responsive, that, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't actually interact with this person, or if you don't know how you can deal with this person. So like, obviously client facing is probably a little bit different than like networking and how they actually communicate with you. But overall, if this person is responsive, you know that this person is probably on top of their work. Or when you're talking to them about their work, or when you're talking to other people and you see how they interact with, other professionals within their actual industry and things like that. Like, I think all of those things, you're gathering data and you're seeing, is this someone I want to network and then eventually collaborate with?
Right.
Is
yeah,
important.
that's true.
That's the goal. So I think it's a matter of elevating together too.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. I try to keep a network of people that are either, a lot of times I try to look for people that are within the same age group that I'm in, or within the same stage in their career that I'm in, because I want everyone to come up together. I want everybody to, just like you're saying, elevate and grow and be at the next level, so that, whenever I need to refer a family law case or an immigration case or a civil case, like, I know the people to call to, and I can just as easily send them a case as I can, pick up the phone and say, let's grab a drink, or let's go grab lunch or something. Like, and genuinely doing it because I care. And then I have the faith in that person that I can send them a referral or a person that needs help. And sometimes it's former clients of mine, and I care what type of service these people get.
Exactly.
So I'm not sending them to just the next family attorney that I met at an event,
Yeah.
I'm sending them to somebody that I've developed some sort of relationship with, or that,
Yeah.
Through my family, there's a relationship with.
Yeah, I think at first, when I first started networking, I didn't really know where it would lead to. And I was like kind of worried because I was like, what is this? Where is this going to take me? You know what I mean? Or where is this going to take this relationship? And at first I was kind of, I didn't know how to network. I didn't network really before, in the sense of like, we're growing together. And, I was joking in the beginning saying like, we're making a lot of money, but I'm joking, but not, because the reason why I say that is because I find that in the beginning I was kind of blindly sending people, like what you're saying. Like, I didn't really know if they were good people to send because I didn't really have a network myself. I didn't have my own community of people I could send. And over time, I've gathered data, obviously, and gotten better at networking and actually connected with people and like genuinely understood who these people are and what type of lawyers they are. And the power of saying, like, I took it lightly saying someone's name or giving someone's information out. And it showed because I wasn't really evaluating kind of like who this person is and if I should be referring this person, versus now, when vice versa, whether someone says my name or if I'm saying someone else's name for potential business, I do not take that lightly. Like, that is like such a big deal to me that you would refer like, even if it's a former client, or obviously we're talking networking purposes, like we're talking about other professionals or other people that you may be even just talking to like at the bar.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're just hanging out with, I always have like business cards on me, even if I'm casually out with my friends, just in case. Like, you never know, because I end up having these conversations with people that end up developing, and then I'm like organically networking with people, because networking really is just connecting with people.
Right.
And so like, I just look kind of in hindsight, and obviously I've been networking now, I would say probably like 3 years. Like, I just recently started networking, considering how long I've been in practice, right? People start networking before even becoming barred, which we'll talk about. But I think that if the sooner you network, the like better advantage you have to everything. Like, you start to get to know, like, there are people that become barred knowing judges.
Yeah.
Because of their networking.
Yeah.
Like, that is a huge advantage, walking in the courtroom without feeling intimidated, or like you don't know anybody, or that your word holds weight just because you already know this individual. Like, things like that. Like, that's another just really great like aspect of networking, especially in the legal profession, where you gain credibility. You gain credibility just by being you know what I mean? Like, showing up to court and actually being able to have a conversation with the judge outside of court can then translate when you're in the courtroom. Just maybe not everything you say is taken, and it's Bible, but it means something.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And being able to network specifically with judges is definitely the first few times that I went to networking events and there were judges, I was like super intimidated. Like, I had that seeing your teacher at a school feeling. Like, I was like, oh,
You're like,
I was like, oh no.
Like, but
I mean, now it's
such a pleasure.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
And they're, they are regular people, and you get to know them outside, and, you get to know a little bit about them and their family life, and like, they know about you and your family life. And, the networking that you could do with court officials is like, you can't, there's networking events that I'll go to, and it's judicial assistants are at them, and clerks are there, and it's like those relationships that you can build with the people that are really the gatekeepers of the court. Like, that is huge, and it does everything from helping you get on a docket if you need to, or helping you with
get an order signed.
Correct. Getting things done, knowing those people and
are on your side.
Right. And you build those relationships over time. And, a lot of the people that I have gotten to know outside of the courtroom, I didn't network with initially. So they got to know me through inside
like
the courtroom. And it's like, and for them, I remember when I first switched from being a prosecutor to a defense attorney, there was a lot of people that I would meet, and they would be like, oh, wow, you're like much different. You're much more different outside of the courtroom than you are in the courtroom. Like, I always thought you were like much more like stoic and serious. Like, that's how you are in court. And
you're like,
I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's not how.
You're
that's not how.
I'm serious.
Well, I try to be serious when I need to be, but I'm not like, that's just not how, I'm much more approachable in real life 100%. Than I am in on that. something that's, the different types of networking and the different groups and organizations. First, talking about the types, you have the face-to-face interactions and the networking groups, but you have the social media networking that's so big also. And specifically, I think of LinkedIn for lawyers, the amount of people that you can be interacting with and get into their networks and expand. I think that's such a big area of potential that not enough people probably execute on, is that social media networking for purposes of building your professional network, not just for purposes of getting your name out there or, and it's all different. When you're networking on LinkedIn, you're not networking towards the people that are potential clients. You're networking towards the people that are potential referrals. And it's a different type of networking, but you gain credibility through the other people that you already know.
100%.
So like I said, with you and I, there are so many people that are regular, commenters on your different posts that now I see all in my pages.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And you know that you're just growing a
community.
Correct.
Your own community.
Correct.
And it's like your own online community. And it's exposure. It's all about exposure. Like online, it's about exposure, but also in person. Speaking to what you're saying, like even with people who, because we work with the same LinkedIn people that help us develop our brand on LinkedIn. And this individual who, his name is Jacob. He's awesome.
Yeah, Jacob's awesome.
He connected me with another criminal defense attorney who is in a different state, like multiple others, where I was able to go live and collaborate with these attorneys. And these people have been in practice much longer than I have, in legal practice and in their own like firm practice. And so being able to connect with these people and ask them questions on the live and give them exposure to my community and vice versa is so cool, because we already all are kind of doing the same thing, right? Like we're all on the same mission in the sense, like we practice law, like kind of aligned in that way. Some of them are former public defenders. Like we have some things in common, but they also have a few extra years on me. So like the people that are already on my page interested in things I'm saying are people that are going to be interested in things that they have to say and vice versa. So it's really cool to be able to collaborate and come together. And like, maybe I can't send them a case because I don't know anybody there and they can't send me a case, but this is a way where we can collaborate and like networking has led to collaboration where we were able to then expose each other to more people, new, bigger communities, different people. Like it doesn't always have to come back in money. Like, and that's the other thing is I in the beginning was thinking like, how much money am I making off this networking event? Like, what is my ROI? Like, you know what I mean? My return on my investment. And it's like, you have to pay for some of these networking events, most of them. And so, aside from like connecting with those people that I meet for lunches and coffee meets and those things, I'm going to networking events to connect with people and get exposure and then see where that takes me in the future. But it doesn't always mean I'm going to get a case out of it. It doesn't mean I'm going to get money out of it, but it could mean that I'm going to get connected to people that are in this person's community. And maybe that person is going to connect me with somebody who is then a potential referral. Like you really don't know where it's going to take you. And I always like approach, especially like social media and exposure. And, maybe I should incorporate this a little bit more with networking, but it's always in my mind. It's always like, how are we able to like elevate together? Like, how can I help you? How can you help me? That's right. How it is. It's not transactional in the sense of like, let me send you a case, you send me a case, but it's like, I want you to win. It's a long-term goal. Like, it's like, I want, like, how can I continue to support you?
Yeah. And you see, the people there are a lot of people that'll reach out to me on LinkedIn and just, cold reach out. And They could be from all different types of organizations or professions. And, I'll be honest, if a 65-year-old accountant and a 30-year-old accountant both reach out to me and they're both, talking to me about potentially working with them, I am inclined to look at the younger professional and say, okay, well, if I'm going to make the choice to go and work with you, I want to do it with somebody that is in my age bracket that I can elevate with. And that's nothing bad about, older professionals, but I want to grow with, a certain class of professionals. I want to grow with the people that are just starting their businesses and that, 20 years from now, that when I look out and I look at the personal network I've built and the people that I refer cases to, they're all people that are like mine.
Yeah.
And we grew together. And
Yeah.
like, you develop relationships for long periods of time with these people. And, sometimes the older professionals are only doing this for X amount more years.
Yeah.
And then
where are they going to
done.
be in 20 years?
Right. Whereas some of the younger people, you can say, hey, let's 25 years from now, you got somebody from, that same person's working on your finances or whatever the case may be.
Well, I think that comes down to connection too, because I think a lot of people are attracted to you at first look. Because, like, let's take it for LinkedIn, like for what you look like, who you are, where you come from, your background, like just basic information you get from somebody viewing their LinkedIn profile or social media profile. It's very superficial. So it's like, are you like, do you like? Obviously, you're not going to continue collaborating if you're not aligned,
Mm-hmm.
but just based off of the first look, you're like, okay, I like what I'm seeing, you know what I mean? And then and the reason why is because you have something in common, like you're connecting with this person, and then you realize that you connect on a deeper level, or you are actually aligned. So I think it does come down to connection, and I think that's why, like, I don't think it's a coincidence that LinkedIn says like connect with this person. That's how you become friends with the person on LinkedIn.
Right.
But there are also offline ways, and specifically in the legal field, that you can network. And, a lot of this is great for like new lawyers, young lawyers who are becoming prosecutors, PDs, or just want to litigate. And that's in Palm Beach County specifically. And that's the Inns of Court, which I didn't participate in, but I think you did.
I did. I was in it, but I also was in the Inns of Court right around the COVID time. So I don't think I got the full experience. And it may have tainted my experience a little bit because it was more, I found it to be more
limited.
It just wasn't, I didn't get the full thing out of it. And I, potentially could give it another go at some point. But hi, everybody. This is Brandon Dinetz and Monica Ishak from Come Back with a Warrant podcast. We are very excited to introduce some of our new merchandise for 2026. We've got the cool crop top shirt with Come Back with a Warrant podcast on the back. We have the brand new all black hoodie, Come Back with a Warrant.
And we have our full shirts coming out on, I don't know what the fuck I was saying, full shirts.
Full shirts, meaning t-shirts. And we have full shirts.
Not cropped, non-cropped t-shirts. We have our non-cropped t-shirts dropping, and make sure you subscribe to our newsletter to stay tuned with all of our latest promotions and merch drops. And if you don't like our merch,
Come Back with a Warrant. I see the type of organizations like my wife is a part of, whether it's FALL or whether it's PBCJA, the Palm Beach County Justice Association, which is civil plaintiffs' attorneys. And I see how when she was making the transition from the public sector to the private sector, she started off in those organizations right away. And now going into this year, years and years later, she's about to be the president of that organization.
That's awesome.
And
it's amazing.
And it's a very big deal. There's a lot of responsibility that she has. There's a lot of, rubbing elbows with politicians and other people in the state that make big decisions for people in her field. There's a lot to that. And it all started with her networking and developing these relationships and then growing with this organization. Yeah.
Well, it's not only that. Well, so like when you say FALL and, these organizations, Palm Beach County Justice Association, these are all bar associations, but there's also like the state bar committees that you can join that are niched in on whatever niche you like, whatever you're involved in. And like, that's what's great is like, you can network on so many different levels. You can network within your industry. You can network within specific niches within your industry. And then you can network outside of your industry. And you can also, it helps you elevate in the sense of like, if you want to actually be a leader and be on the board and do these things, like that's awesome. And so speaking of FALL, I'm on the FALL, one of the committee boards or whatever. So I help plan the judicial reception for the year because I was like, let me put my wedding planning skills to use here. Because I was like, I don't know.
I think Jen held that position also at some point.
Yeah, and apparently it's a big deal out of all the committees. Everybody keeps telling me, I'm like, but no, it's great so far. But it has connected me with a lot of other great people who are also connected with people that are collaborating with me in the end. So it ends up being like a big circle of like people. And like when you end up going to other organizations just attending as an attendee, then you see some of the familiar faces, or you are introduced to new people who they know at that networking event. So it's just like kind of like a like it branches out into all these little groups of people. And then you're like, oh, wow, like we're
Yeah.
all connected in a way. And that's how I realized the legal field really is not that big.
No. And it's so important to reach out beyond your own, because you can, we could just go to the, Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyer events and like call it a day and just stay in our own lane. But, going to different types of organizations, I've been able to develop relationships with, other PI lawyers, and they'll send me cases. And it's like, having friends in some of the bigger firms in Palm Beach County and getting to develop these relationships over time is a really big deal. In a space where referrals is so important, and getting business from, the majority of the business that I get is either from former clients or other lawyers. And that's all based on networking, word of mouth, and then the faith and trust that these other lawyers have that I'm going to do the job the right way because I have done it the right way for the other clients that they've sent me.
Yeah.
That's all about building credibility. And then when I have cases that fit their areas, that's who I send it to.
Yeah. Well, it's also figuring out what you're getting from each networking event you're going to or networking situation you're involved in. Because
Right.
I think that certain, like when you're saying FACDL, which is the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, we can network in the sense of collaborating for trials. If they're in another jurisdiction, they can help us out and like let us know, which is great. I'm not minimizing that, but
Right.
it's also like a really great place to learn. Like where I get my knowledge and like learning things and exchanging information is the criminal defense bar.
Yeah.
But then when it's like bigger networking groups involving other attorneys, then I'm talking about referral-based relationships. Like there are different things you can get from everything,
Yeah, that's true.
And then obviously networking outside of your industry, like that's huge. I do that as much as I can. I do oftentimes network within the legal field, but I also am involved in like Miss Esquire and like other, which it's Miss Esquire is
still a legal community.
It
Yeah.
is, but they have non-legal members. So
Got
it
it.
sounds like but it started as women lawyers, but like other Create and Cultivate. I know Entreprenista is like another one. Like there's a lot of really big companies or they're not big, but they're companies that are known for networking and collaborating and bringing people together. And I've created like relationships with people who have helped me grow my business in ways that like no case referral can. You know what I mean? Like I have developed relationships with people who were able to help me make more money just because they have been running their own businesses for X amount of years, like helping me position myself from going from like an operator to like an owner, and like having certain mindsets that I didn't even know were things that I would face as an entrepreneur because they have already experienced it. And so like not only has networking helped me connect with the right people, but it's also given me really great mentors.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's not something that is easy to access, especially when you're starting out a firm on your own.
Exactly.
That's, Florida Bar is very good about giving you a chart of how to start the firm, but like the mentorship and that you would get from another person basically telling you how to do it. No, that's stuff that you have to build over time. And I like to look to former bosses of mine at times for certain things like that. I have done what I'm doing and have grown their firms to be successful, and people that I'm comfortable asking questions to that, even though they're in the same space, I can still go to them with certain questions, whether they're legal based or business based, and know that I'm getting an answer from someone that, I've developed a relationship with and they care about me and they're not going to steer me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, like, honestly, I started networking. The first time I ever networked was outside of the legal industry. I think I felt more comfortable in the room, ironically, and I say ironically because when I got in the room, I had such an eye-opening experience that I was like, I spent so much money to get into this networking event, and because they have like higher tiered, whatever, the companies I plugged. Okay. So they introduced me to these people that I was like, I would have never otherwise, like, I would have never met this person if I didn't choose to come in here. And so like that and meeting that person changed the trajectory of my life. And so like the reason I say that is because I like went on this retreat associated with Create and Cultivate, which is the company I was saying. I think I had put in my notice at the insurance company, but I didn't decide to open my own firm yet. So I was like in a lull period, like mentally, because I was still working, but whatever. Anyways, I won this retreat, which was like the kickoff of like the networking thing that I signed up for. And it was like really a blueprint to get you ready to expand your business, grow your business, whatever. And so I attended this retreat, and it literally helped me make the decision to start my firm, which I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be almost like closing on 2 years of business if it wasn't for that. And like, for me, in my mind right now, I'm like, this is just the beginning. Like, that's so crazy.
Right.
But if it wasn't for my experience and like choosing to put myself in an uncomfortable situation where I like went to go, I paid a shit ton of money to get into the room. And two, I had to go and like, even though like mentally, because I'm saying ironically, the reason why I said ironically is because like mentally I went in there, I was like, after I had met certain people, I was like, I don't feel like I belong here. I don't feel like I deserve to be here. I felt like I was surrounded by people who were way more advanced than me, which I mean they were, but then I had to, thank God it was a 2-day retreat, because the second day I went home crying. The first day I went in, the second day, and I was like, I am so blessed that I feel this way. Like, I didn't realize how great of a thing it was that I was the youngest and most inexperienced person in that room. I took it hard the first day, but then I had to like reframe it in my mind and go in with a different mindset. But it was, if it wasn't for that experience, and that was a networking thing, you know what I mean? And it's hard. So it's people, I always talk to people and they're like, oh, you're so good at networking and da 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 da. And like, they hate it. They hate networking. And I get it. Like, I get that you're working all day and you don't want to go and like have a drink at the bar with like a bunch of strangers, right? And like have to do all this small talk.
Wear a name tag and do the whole, I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
I don't love networking.
Yeah. And so I think that and I had that mindset going into this retreat, but I also carry that mindset going into certain networking events. And whenever I find myself like really not feeling it, I just choose not to go sometimes, because I'm like, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I notice my energy, and I'm like, if I'm not feeling it, or I'm not going to maximize my time there, I'm not going to go, because I'm just going to waste time. I'm just going to go and like be sitting, on the side talking to somebody I'm used to talking to, or I'm comfortable talking to, which is fine. But like, I don't need to, exactly. I don't need to go to the networking event. The whole point is exposure. Like, why would I go there to talk to the same person I always talk to?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I can meet them for lunch is my point.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot more that goes into networking. It's great to talk about like the fruits of networking, but also I think that it takes some mental preparation for you to be able to actually go in and network and be able to create these relationships and maintain all these relationships.
Yeah, that's true. And you have to be able to cultivate the relationships that you build there. And you also want to show up and put your best foot forward and give the best effort and be in the best mood that you possibly can. And if you're already going into it with the wrong headspace, and you're not gonna get everything out of it that you possibly could. Yeah. And you also don't want to be like, you don't want that to be the reputation, is that you like come to these events and you're the same person and you're like kind of mopey. Like you don't want that. You want to be like, oh, like everybody knows Monica. Like she's very like, happy and XYZ.
And has good energy and is excited. Exactly. And you want to. That's the reputation you want to build. Correct. So you want to show up that way.
Right. The benefit to the clients is huge. Oh, yeah. Networking has a huge benefit to your clients, because you're going to be able to give them better advocacy than you ordinarily would have. And what I mean by that is, whether it's something that's in your field or not, if you're able to refer it out and give it to somebody else that can handle it better in their field, you're giving them good representation. Or you're developing relationships within your own field that allow you to keep learning and stepping up. And now you're bringing something new to the case, some new knowledge about something specific that can benefit this specific client. And that's huge. There's a direct relation to networking and the positive impacts and betterment for your client.
Yeah, for sure. And that's, I mean, that goes back to what you were saying, like going to your old bosses too, being able to be connected to certain people in your industry, in your field that have already experienced this issue, and you can contact them. Like, who to call when you're facing an issue or your client's facing an issue, or you need a second lawyer that is more experienced to help you handle the case, or whatever the case is.
And it's not for everybody. The relationships, you don't network with every single person. There's certain collaborations that don't make sense. And we've said that before. If you run a traffic ticket, type of practice, 2 traffic ticket practices are not going to be collaborating and networking together because it doesn't make any sense. But if you have a lawyer that runs a criminal practice that's, all volume based, and you have a lawyer that is more of a specialist in, let's say, like a federal cases or something like that, then you develop that relationship and you're able to, take the cases from if you have more of the volume practice, you're able to take the volume type cases from the federal attorney and send the federal cases to that other attorney and develop a relationship and expand, what you do and what you market towards, because you now can market towards some new things.
Yeah.
You can market towards different areas of the law. You can market towards things that you maybe are not so comfortable handling, but because you've developed these relationships and because you've developed people that you can send clients to, you're more comfortable with that.
Yeah. Well, there's also, when you said cultivate the relationships, it reminded me, I did this LinkedIn live interview with this attorney, one of the attorneys I was talking about that Jacob connected me with. And he was talking about how he loves lunches. And I interviewed him for an hour asking him about his lunches. And I found out his secret because he's also referral-based. He used to spend $30K in Google ads a year, and he does criminal defense in Utah. Okay, so like $30K in ads. South Florida, I'm like, yeah.
$30K in ads in South Florida is really not that crazy, but in
like shit.
More rural place, that could be, yeah.
Yeah, and he turned that off completely, switched to literally reset his whole firm during COVID and just started meeting with people for lunch. And like he does 10 lunches a month, I think he said. And that's how he cultivates his relation. That's how he gets his clients, is through like continuous cultivation of relationships through lunches. And he has a family of like 10 or 11 kids or something like that.
Well, Utah. That makes sense.
Well, I think they adopted kids, so I don't know. Yeah, I think there's more to that than what we may assume.
I hope he's going on more than 10 lunches a month if he's supporting that big of a family. That's a big family. Can't imagine. I've got one. I can't imagine.
I know.
10.
I know. Well, that's why I mentioned it, because you're like, I have a kid who I get a network. Bring Jackson. Help you get
Jen
cases.
brings him to certain events sometimes. She's brought him to events.
He's
sometimes.
Probably like the most popular kid there. He's the only kid there.
Yeah, well, he's probably the only kid there, but everybody's got kids. Everybody's got a family, and everybody's got other obligations. And that's another really cool thing, is when you start to meet and interact with other professionals on a human level, and you can talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
You can talk about family life, talk about raising kids, talk about
you
chasing
more
after your
relatable,
kid.
too.
It does. When you are having you're at an event and you're talking to judges and you're commiserating over the things that your toddler did, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. And then the next time you're in court and you see that person, it's like you're a friendly face. Like, we've talked about stuff, like, you
showed me pics of your kid.
Yeah. Like, you know about my kid. I know about your kids. Like, it's a good feeling to have, especially when you're dealing with like certain judges that are knowing, they're going to be tough, and them on a personal level, and you're just like, shit, I wish I knew you a little bit better if you're going to be so fucking tough on me.
Yeah. No, it's true.
But that's part of the thing is getting to know people.
It does help.
It still helps. Yeah.
How's your dog doing, Judge? How's your,
We
whatever.
got to be careful bringing up any personal shit with judges not in
the middle of handling your case.
Right.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, just following up like that also helps you like stay, I guess, like, that's a way of cultivating the relationship, even though you're not really like talking about anything significant,
Yeah, there are definitely certain judges that that in court it'll come up, like personal things will come up in court. I have judges that'll ask me about my wife or my son in court. That happens from time to time. Usually not when I'm handling anything very serious.
Yeah.
It's usually like a continuance, and then they'll be like, "Oh, how's the family?"
Yeah,
it's like,
it's never anything.
It's never like I'm in the middle of like something really crazy, or I'm like contested and I'm like getting heated with something, and then the judge is like, and by the way, how's your family? Fuck your client, but how's your family doing?
Imagine.
That doesn't happen.
Don't worry about it, Judge.
Yeah, you know what? My family's fine, Judge. Okay. It'd be a lot better if you granted that motion.
Yeah, literally.
No, but that's,
Yeah. So listen, maybe 2026 will bring me more we're on the eve of 2026 pretty much.
When this comes out, we're
Yeah,
going
it
to be
will
in the
be.
heart of 2026.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be doing some lunches to cultivate
Yeah.
my relationships, because I think that it was a really great thing that he does. And it's obviously with like other people that are, it's not with judges, it's with other attorneys or other professionals that he's connected to. And I think that's a really great thing, because it's a mutual relationship. It's not one-sided. It's not, call me when you only hear from a criminal case. Like, it's, how can I support you? How can you support me? Or if you've been in a position of, doing something that someone else hasn't done before, they can reach out to you as somebody who is a mentor, who has knows information about this position or knows information about whatever it is. And being able to just be of service to people, I have found, has been also another really great way to just get exposure. It's not really networking, but it's just serving people. And like, I've done it. I'm not on the board of certain organizations, but certain organizations have needed help, like getting certain things done with their annual signature event, and I've been able to help them out, and I'm not on the board, and like things like that. Like, honestly, even though like it hasn't really come back in a way to me, like where I've been able to get a case like from that, I feel like I don't know. I feel good being able to like give back to my community in some way, give back to my like friends or colleagues in a way that maybe I can't really support you in the way that you thought I could, or maybe, an opportunity hasn't come up where I can send you a case, but I can actually, show up for you in this way. And I think that shows a lot about who you are, and like, if you're willing to serve people, how you're like, and that's how you kind of gather information too, if this person's actually going to be good to your client, if you want to refer them a case. So like, also like, just aside from, being on the board, being involved, like being of like true service and being able to help people, I think is a really big way to get exposure too. So
I agree with that.
Yeah. But all that to say, y'all should attend. We are having networking events. I don't know. Should I plug
Well, we
it?
are having networking events. By the time this comes out, we probably will have had our first networking event already, because we're going to be having it in February of 2026. But we are going to be hosting more regular networking events.
And we are very excited for that.
Yeah, we are really excited about that.
We will be connecting with all of you, hopefully in person. And if you liked listening, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We are on all social media platforms. Come back with a warrant.pod. Leave us a 5-star review. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. And if you didn't like listening to us,
come back with a warrant.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?